All right, today we're going to do something pretty wild. We're hacking into the most complex machine in the known universe. Yep, your brain. We're going to figure out how to unlock peak performance, but not with some vague self-help stuff. Nope, we're diving deep into its biology, all based on the incredible work of researcher Steven Kotler.
Okay, let me just start with a huge question. What if you could be, get this, 500% more productive? Seriously, I'm not talking about working longer hours. I'm talking about working smarter by tapping into a very specific state of mind. And look, I know it sounds like science fiction, but it's not. The research shows this is something that's totally accessible to every single one of us.
So how do we even get there, right? Well, the secret isn't just buried in philosophy books or psychology textbooks. If you really want to get your biology to work for you instead of against you, you got to understand the machine itself. We need to look at the brain's secret code, and that code is neurobiology.
Okay, let's break this down a bit. For ages, we've leaned on psychology, right? And it's great. It's what you'd call an outside-in approach. It looks at our behavior and gives us these metaphors to kind of understand ourselves. But here's the catch. It's super dependent on your personality. What works for you might do absolutely nothing for me. But neurobiology? Man, it just flips the whole script. It's inside out. It's not about metaphors. It's about the mechanism, the actual universal wiring that we all share. And that right there is the real game changer.
And that's really the heart of it. When you have the actual biological blueprint, you get a toolkit that's reliable and repeatable. This isn't about hoping you find some random trick that works for you. It's about learning to use the operating system that's already installed in your head. It's about making your own nervous system your greatest ally, instead of something you're always fighting against.
So, this optimal state, this peak performance zone, what is it actually called? Well, scientists have a name for it, and I'm willing to bet you felt it before. It's called flow.
So, flow. What is it really? The official definition is an optimal state of consciousness where we feel our best and perform our best. But honestly, you already know what this feels like. Just think about it. That time you were so completely locked into something, maybe a project at work, playing a sport, or even just listening to music, that everything else just vanished. The whole world just melted away. That was flow.
And yeah, this is exactly what it feels like. When you're in flow, that little nagging voice in your head, your inner critic, it goes completely silent. Your sense of self just kind of disappears. Time gets all distorted and weird, where hours feel like minutes. Your actions and your awareness of them just merge into one smooth, seamless thing. And the result? Your performance, whether it's mental or physical, just skyrockets.
Okay, this all sounds amazing, right? But is it just some random thing? A stroke of luck? Do you just have to sit around and wait for lightning to strike? Absolutely not. Flow is not an accident. It has very specific triggers, preconditions, that we can actually learn to pull, to activate, to get us into that state way more often.
And here's the absolute fundamental rule you need to know. Flow follows focus. It's really that simple. Now, there are about 22 known triggers for flow. Things like, high consequence situations, novelty, a rich environment, but they all do the exact same thing. Every single one of them is just a way to drive all of our attention into the present moment, to make right here, right now, the only thing in the universe that matters.
But out of all those triggers, there's one that stands above the rest. Researchers literally call it the golden rule. It's probably the single most important one to get a handle on, and it's called the challenge skills balance.
And believe it or not, we can actually put a number on that golden rule. See, we pay the most attention when a challenge is just a little bit harder than our current skill level. So what's that sweet spot? All the research points to this one magic number, about 4%.
Think about it. If a task is too easy, you get bored, right? Your mind starts to wander. But if it's way too hard, you get anxious, you feel overwhelmed, and you just shut down. Flow lives right there in the middle, that 4% sweet spot that scientists call the flow channel. The idea is simple. You want to stretch, but you don't want to snap. But what makes us even want to take on these challenges over and over again? Well, that's where our own internal motivation comes in, something researchers call the motivation stack. It's this really powerful sequence. It all starts with just a little spark of curiosity. Then, if you follow that curiosity, it can grow into a real passion. And when you connect that passion to something bigger than yourself, boom, you've got purpose. That purpose makes you want autonomy, the freedom to chase it your way. And that freedom is what fuels the drive for mastery, that constant desire to just get better. See how each one feeds the next? It's like building this incredible engine for consistently finding flow.
Okay, So we get what flow is, and we've got some ideas on how to find it. But why bother? Why go through all this trouble? Well, because the payoff is absolutely astonishing. Let's talk about the superpowers that this state actually unlocks.
And this is where it gets kind of crazy. Let's look at the hard numbers. A decade-long study from McKinsey found that top executives were 500% more productive when they were in flow. 500%. Research from the Department of Defense showed that learning speeds shot up by 240%, and other studies have creativity spiking by over 400%. We're not talking about little 5 or 10% gains here. These are massive, massive boosts to what we're capable of.
So that just begs the question, right? How is all of this even possible? How can a single state of mind lead to such insane results across the board, from learning to creativity to productivity? Well, the answer, once again, brings us right back to our own biology.
It all comes down to neurochemistry. When you get into a flow state, your brain just floods your system with a cocktail of some of the most powerful, performance-enhancing, feel-good chemicals imaginable. I mean, it's like having the world's best pharmacy right there between your ears, and it's all on demand.
And here's a look at the recipe for that incredible cocktail. First, you get a big shot of norepinephrine and dopamine. That's what gives you that intense focus and motivation. Then, your brain releases endorphins, which are natural painkillers, letting you push past your usual limits. You also get anandamide. They call this the bliss molecule for a reason. It shuts up your inner critic and helps you make new creative connections. And to top it all off, you get serotonin, which leaves you with that awesome feeling of well-being afterward. It's the perfect performance-enhancing cocktail, and it's brewed right inside your own head.
And that's exactly why Steven Kotler says the flow is the most addictive experience on Earth. Think about it. You literally can't get this combination from anywhere else. It's this incredibly complex, powerful cocktail that evolution designed as the ultimate reward system to push us to grow, to learn, and to perform at our absolute peak.
So, if there's one thing to take away from all of this, it's this. You are literally hardwired for this stuff. Peak performance isn't some secret gift reserved for elite athletes or world-famous artists. This incredible biological machinery is your birthright. It's a fundamental part of what it means to be human. So that leaves us with one final, and I think pretty powerful question. Knowing that your brain is built for this, what impossible thing could you achieve?